Live, News 8 at 5 starts now.
And we are following that breaking news tonight in South Florida, where there has been a deadly school shooting happening at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. We have learned tonight that shooting suspect is in custody, but as of right now, the number of people wounded or dead is still unclear. We're glad you're with us, everybody. I'm Darren Kramer.
And I'm Ann Craig. We have team coverage tonight of this latest shooting. We'll have the most recent information as it's coming in, reaction from Connecticut lawmakers. But we're going to start tonight with News 8's Scott McDonald. He brings our team coverage tonight and begins it all from News 8 Control with the very latest. Scott.
Darren and Ann, this high school is about half an hour away from Fort Lauderdale. It is a large school. Over 3,000 students attend. The shooting started around dismissal time, so just before 3 p.m. Staff and students heard what sounded like gunfire. The school enacted a code red lockdown. When asked how many gunshots, one student said, too many to count. Fatalities, injuries still being assessed, but authorities say the shooter is in custody. The superintendent there reporting multiple deaths. We just heard from the sheriff's department there. They say their number was 14 people who were transferred to the hospital injured in this. Folks in that community right now in shock and disbelief.
I don't even have words for it. It's my backyard. I live half a mile away from here. I went to this school for 4 years, and you think of it as the safest school that you could ever find, and to see something like this happens, it's just eye-opening, and it's crazy.
An arrest has been made not long after the shooting happened. This is video of that arrest. You can see a large amount of police on the scene there, sheriff's deputies. No word on who this person is, although multiple reports pointing towards the shooter being a former student. However, that has not yet been confirmed. Now, just days ago, we aired our story on special training for school shootings. We were there side by side as a group made up of SWAT team members, law enforcement, and former military trained educators for situations just like this, for just like what we're seeing today happening in Florida. So we're going to bring you that report for a look at some of that training and preparation that happens inside a school in response to an active shooter who is on the loose. We'll have that coming up tonight at 5:30 right here on News 8. Darren and Ann, back to you.
All right, Scott, thanks. A few minutes ago, the governor of Florida, Rick Scott, released a statement on Twitter. He says, quote, just spoke with POTUS about the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. My thoughts and prayers are with the students, their families, and the entire community. We will continue to receive briefings from the law enforcement and issue updates.
Our team coverage continues now. Connecticut's U.S. senators responding tonight to the shooting.
At News 8's Amy Hudak joins us live now from News 8 Control with what they have to say tonight. Amy?
Connecticut Senators Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal say they are following every development of this horrific shooting, saying their hearts are in Florida. Tonight, both are acknowledging gun violence epidemic in this country, and we must do more to prevent guns from getting into the wrong hands. They say the time is long overdue for common sense gun reform. Senator Murphy took to the Senate floor just a short time ago speaking about the shooting. Here's some of what he had to say.
This happens nowhere else other than the United States of America. This epidemic of mass slaughter, this scourge of school shooting after school shooting. It only happens here not because of coincidence, not because of bad luck, but as a consequence of our inaction.
Senator Blumenthal also took to social media, saying on Twitter, quote, my thoughts are with the victims, loved ones, and all affected. Thankful for the swift action of courageous first responders on scene. We will, of course, continue to bring you the latest developments in this story throughout the newscast and always on WTNH.com. Live in News 8 Control, I'm Amy Hudak.
All right, Amy, thanks very much. Stay with us on air and on our News 8 app. We will have the very latest on this latest school shooting.
Time now for a check of our local weather. Storm Team 8 senior meteorologist Fred Campagna joins us now with a look at the forecast. And Fred, what a beautiful day it was today.
Nice and mild out there today, and it should be fine if you plan on going out for Valentine's Day dinner. The temperature right now is in the 40s. We've seen some clouds throughout the day, and they'll tend to gather again as we head through this evening. It'll likely stay dry, though, through at least late this evening, with these showers arriving sometime around midnight. So check hour by hour. The temperature's settling back into the upper 30s to lower 40s, but staying mild enough that it will be just plain old rain coming through, kind of raw and rainy late at night. By tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, the rain is already on the way out. A little damp for the very early morning commuters and clouds hanging around, but another mild day ahead for tomorrow as temperatures will be climbing right through the 40s by 9 o'clock in the morning. Mild weather for now, but some snow to talk about for this weekend. We'll get to that in the 8-day forecast.
All right, Fred, thanks. There is a battle over what women's health services are being offered, and it is brewing at the state capitol.
Yeah, it is a battle of supporters of Planned Parenthood, the largest supplier of abortion services, and the state's pro-life pregnancy resource centers that do not. Chief Political Correspondent Mark Davis live tonight with that. Mark.
Hi, Darren and Ann. Good evening, everyone, from the Hartford Newsroom. In his final year in office, Governor Malloy is joining with Democrats in the State House and Senate in this battle. Supporters of the 17 Planned Parenthood centers in Connecticut are gearing up for a fight in the legislature to ensure that birth control remains cost-free no matter what happens in Washington. Governor Malloy toured one of the centers today and reaffirmed a pledge he made last week. He and legislative Democrats are also taking on the 11 pregnancy resource centers that offer pregnancy counseling and services but do not offer abortion.
We want to protect women and ensure that if something is advertised as a women's health care center, that it actually is a health care provider and not one of these crisis pregnancy centers.
Part of their campaign is based on confusion.
The centers have joined together to combat this effort, bringing a number of volunteers, RNs, and ultrasound technicians to the Capitol.
Unfortunately, over the past 3 years, radical pro-abortion groups like NARAL Pro-Choice Connecticut have attempted to influence governmental leaders to believe it's lies against our centers.
The representatives of these pregnancy resource centers publicly denied today that they try to shame women away from abortion or don't tell women that they do not offer them.
We do not perform or refer for abortion services. This information is placed on our websites, our materials. If a woman calls into our centers, we mention it to her over the phone.
Now, the leaders of these pregnancy resource centers around the state made it clear today they are prepared to fight in the legislature and in the courts, if need be, against any attempt to restrict their advertising for their services. Live from the Hartford Newsroom, Mark Davis, News 8.
Mark, thank you. A body pulled today from a pond in Griswold, identified as the man who disappeared back in December. 56-year-old John Dubois was snowmobiling when he was reported missing. His body was found on Tuesday. Police are still investigating what happened.
A serial Dunkin' Donuts burglary suspect has been arrested again. Police say this man, 32-year-old Brett Johnson, broke into the Coventry Dunkin' Donuts in April of last year. Police say he has broken into 22 Dunkin' Donuts in at least 10 Connecticut cities and towns over the past few months. Police say he breaks in to support a drug habit.
February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, and today a group of prominent men in the state dedicated to ending domestic violence by serving as role models to boys held a press conference today in Hartford. Our very own Joe Fury is a member of that group. The group says 1 in 3 teenagers report being physically, sexually, or emotionally abused by their partner.
We're reaching out to teens and yes, preteens early to let them know about the problems surrounding teen dating violence and abuse and what a healthy relationship looks like.
The group works with Interval House in Hartford.
Well, a dilemma for Catholics tonight. Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday falling on the very same day this year.
That's right. For some, it means no meat tonight for dinner, but the good news is getting ashes has never been easier. News 8's Kent Pierce has that story tonight.
Early on a Wednesday, cars usually line up for drive-through coffee, but this is Ash Wednesday, so they are lining up to mark the first day of Lent.
And so the ashes mark on our bodies the fact that we're going to die. As gloomy as that sounds, it's a good reminder for the way we want to live.
This is the 4th year Cheshire's First Congregational Church has offered drive-through service for today's busy Christian.
And every year we're amazed at how many people come through who might not be able to get their ashes any other way.
I'd have to go after work tonight.
All right, so this is definitely more convenient.
Yes, it was a great idea. I saw that on Facebook. So, and when I saw it, I said, well, I can now go to work at an earlier time.
As convenient as this drive-through at the Congregational Church is, the timing of Ash Wednesday this year not so convenient for Catholics because Ash Wednesday also comes on Valentine's Day.
For Ash Wednesday, it's a day of both fasting and abstinence. Abstinence means no meat whatsoever at any point during the day.
Fasting means only one normal meal and 2 snacks all day. That means no steak dinner with that special someone. There's no exception even for Saint Valentine's Day.
Saint Valentine, he was a great saint. He was also eventually bludgeoned to death and had his head cut off. So any little sacrifices we make today are certainly not at all what he had to sacrifice or chose to sacrifice for love of the Lord.
So don't complain if you've got to put off your Valentine's dinner until tomorrow. In Cheshire, I'm Kent Pierce, News 8.
Coming up here tonight on News 8, we're going to bring you the very latest on that school shooting happening in Florida. We're hearing from police coming up here in just a minute.
I'm Jocelyn Memento, recognizing the warning signs to protect children from the flu. That's ahead in health news.
The restaurant business thrives on Valentine's days like this one where the weather is fantastic. Unfortunately, it hasn't always been that way. So just how dependent is the restaurant business on the weather? I'm meteorologist Sam Cantor with the answer coming up.
Well, it is Valentine's night, and it looks like the weather is nice and clear out there today on this beautiful day. Coming up, senior meteorologist Fred Campania will have the latest on your forecast.
And I want an investigation. I want answers now. I want people to be held accountable.
New at 6, outrage over Eversource billing has a lawmaker calling for an investigation into the state's largest utility tonight.